Hello everyone, Chrisa is here, and today we are diving a little bit deeper into the technical aspect of the Giro as we saw it through the Vals. We're going to be going back to the valses and the valse rhythm and the valse as a dance to see different combinations next week. But I want to take advantage of this opportunity so we can make things better, not only for Vals, but generally for our tango. So in this video, you will see different ways to practice your walks, your ochos, and your giro, of course. And there are some interesting tips about posture. So look out for all of these. See how you can feed them into last week's video where, musicality was more at the center of it. And we'll be back with rhythms and, fun stuff next week. So we're going to start with this exercise that we have been working on for some time now, way back when we were working on boleos. And it has to do with staying congruent in the hip axis and understanding how the hips and the leg, generally how the hip axis works and how we can be in support of that architecture instead of working against it. And if you just swing the leg front and back and really focus on allowing that leg to freely swing. So nothing fancy here, nothing, not a beautiful swing that can turn into some embellishment. No, just a gentle swing to feel that in order to create that swing forward and back, you need to allow for a rotation of the leg inside the hip. And you can see it here, my heel coming forward or inward, if we can say it that way, when I'm swinging to the front, and my heel going outward when I'm swinging to the back. And we want to let that happen and move the body accordingly. So if you take your gaze upward away from the feet, you'll see that the body is also swinging and turning and going up and down. Here you can see it possibly a little bit better where there is a swing in my arms that's matching the leg, and there is also a slight up and down of the shoulders. So, and there's also a front and back sort of wave in the spine. So all of these things, all of these nice things are happening, and some of these movements will be more obvious in your movement compared to mine. So that's expected to happen. Don't expect to look exactly like me. Try to avoid the walls as well. That's kind of good. There we go. And another thing I would like you to focus on is where we're starting from. So our point 0. So you can see I'm trying to find it here, and it's a moment where you're not committing forward yet, but you're going to go there. So we want to start from a position of readiness. So we're ready to move. We're preparing the body to move, but we're not committing just yet to any direction, forward, back, right, or left. So, but at the same time, we're not just hanging there. We're ready to move, but we're not doing that just yet in a specific position. So let's see that again. Every time, as you can see, I'm trying to find that point, and it might take, committing a little bit to the right and to the left, to the front and to the back. When you're ready, you go. Don't forget about the head. So if you notice, if you take your gaze all the way up, this is usually something we don't look at in tango. You'll notice that my head I'm not looking down. And that is quite important. So you want to have your eyes parallel to the floor. That will completely change your whole posture. That is because it is actually, her head is actually kind of heavy. So, it changes how we carry the rest of our body if we don't allow for the head to hang forward too much and pull on the spine. Also notice though, but that the head is not stuck in one specific position. It follows the wave of the rest of the spine. So we want, as always, somewhere a good balance in between, not looking down, letting the whole head drop, weight of the head drop forward, but not being stuck in one position, like a zombie looking forward only. So now let's put it into our ocho. So again, you start from this from finding this point zero position, and I'm taking a little bit more time to show you how I do it here. Maybe you want to relax the shoulders. I usually carry a lot of tension in the shoulders. You want to go a little bit forward and a little bit back to make sure that you're not falling forward, especially for followers that you're wearing heels. A little bit to the right and to the left. We all have a tendency to either go one way or the other. And settle in the middle and align your eye sockets basically to the floor. So as you can see, the position of my head changes to there, a little bit more upward. Then I give myself the twist, and we do exactly the same exercise, only in a forward ocho preparing position. And here it's not only how we step that we will we want to understand from this exercise, but it's also the timing of the pivot. Let's say it here, as this free leg is coming in to swing through, I give myself that lead for the ocho. So these two things are happening together, and things are a lot easier if those two things are coordinated, because as this free leg comes in and it just passes through, I give myself a little bit of an extra little push, and I can actually do a pivot. So let's see it again here. See how coordinated the upper and the lower body is. In terms of timing, this is the perfect time for leaders to give your partner that lead for the ocho. So try to practice this way. If you need to slow it down like I did before, go for it. It will really help you understand what is the right time for the pivot to be initiated. The other thing I want you to take a look at is the upper body. So especially when we're doing this swingy motion, which of course doesn't happen in repetition in a forward ocho. It is just once that the leg swings through. But we do it here in repetition to notice also the upper body. The upper body is not, it can't be stuck. If it gets stuck in a position, you're going to feel a lot of tension. So allow it to move, and the last little bit, allow it to move in different directions. So it will be a little bit of a twist, a little bit of an up and down, a little bit of a wave, and all of this together, it can create a really smooth forward ocho, which then you can take into the Giro, which is exactly what we're going to do. So, preparing for a back ocho, we're doing exactly the same thing. So find yourself in that point zero position, shake things off. If you need to, realign the head. So as you can see, I carry bad habits too, which I'm constantly working on getting rid of. My head started dropping as I was doing those forward ochos because I was focusing so much. So it is hard to find a position that's good for the head and the neck, but once you find it, then you notice when you're actually off, because that off is kind of awkward. So here too, we swing the leg a couple times just to get a feel of it, and you can see the body here as well, turning and twisting. And again, same rule applies. As the leg comes in, That is the opportune moment to give yourself that little bit of extra to go into the pivot, and then the leg can, continue on its way to step backwards. So we want basically to bring those two together, the step and the pivot, so they're not clearly separated. Um, and that all has to do with proper timing. You can see here also how the body changes, and it's not only a twist, but it's also one shoulder slightly lifting up compared to the other to allow for that deeper, there you go, you can see it here, that deeper twist that we need when we reach back. So allow for that to happen. And then as you go, you can make the swings less in number, so you can have you can gradually reach to your simple back ocho. So of course, feel free to add more or stay here if you need to, if you feel that you need to. Make sure that you're not just swinging through, but it's you're very much aware of how the leg swings through, and that you're allowing for that rotation that we were talking about in the beginning of this video to happen, so inside your hip. So the step, you shouldn't feel, especially in these twisted positions, as if it requires a lot of muscle, and especially lower back muscle or psoas muscle to happen. So if you're feeling a pinch inside your hip or a pinch around your lower back, something needs to be adjusted. And a small adjustment can make a huge difference. So this is the end result that you want. As the leg passes through, you give yourself a pivot, and then that free leg can continue its path into a back step, only in a different direction. And so we're going to put the two together in an attempt to create a linear giro, just like the exercise we did last week. And it's basically a forward ocho, a side step, and a back ocho put together. You can start with a forward ocho, or you can start with a back ocho. What I want you to really pay attention to is timing, what we worked on right before, and how you pass through that side step. That's quite critical. That side step can be very descriptive of our bad habits. So if you really want to find things that you need to work on, and you just focus on that side step, the step that normally nobody talks about, that's where you'll find them. They can be quite enlightening. So watch for that side step. Try to check on your posture while you're going through it. You want to hit that point zero if that's possible, when you're right in the middle, not committing too much forward or too far back, and smoothly transferring from the right to the left foot. Just a quick change of perspective just to give you an idea of how it's supposed to look on the side. So that's the point zero I've been talking about. You can see it here. See how I'm not going forward or back, but I'm ready to move. And then the timing, as the free leg comes in, the pivot happens. So don't worry too much about collecting the feet. If you want to, that's a matter of style, but timing will show you how close the feet actually need to be for a balanced pivot to happen. And then it's up to you to choose. And last but not least, our Giro. So again, you see me here finding that point zero we've been talking about, and then starting from there. No, I want you to notice that it's not it's not a perfect circle. I mean, I'm not even quite sure what a perfect circle is in these cases, but I want you to see the transfers, how they're happening from this point zero position um, to uh, to back or forward ochos, how we're connecting the quick, slow, slow, the changes of pace, how we're managing the timing of the pivots themselves. And also notice that this side is actually not working as well for me as the other side. So we all have a good side and a bad side, literally, like physically speaking. And this is my stronger side, let's put it that way, and you can see how my whole posture is a lot more fluid and a lot more confident when I'm doing this side compared to the other one. That is absolutely natural. It just accept it. It happens to everyone, and it just means that you need to take the good stuff from your strong side and practice the other side a little bit more, trying to bring those good things, those good ingredients in. So more practice, but also more patience.